Okay, so a bunch of you have been asking me to do a tutorial on how I do my hair. I will do that as soon as I figure out how to get things set up in the bathroom, how to show you how I actually do cleanse, condition, and style my hair. But this video is going to talk about uh, my last 2 years on my curly hair journey. I'm going to talk to you a lot about what I have learned in the 2 years, and I'm first going to start off with my personal feelings about my hair. Before we start though, this right now is my hair. I washed it this morning, conditioned it, put product in it, and I have let it air dry and then done a little bit of diffusing. So I'm actually in stage 3 of my what do you call that? My routine. And right now it still has what is called a cast on it from the gel I used. I'll get into that. I'll talk to you about that in a bit. But it's very close to my head. It's still a little wet. As soon as it's completely dry, I will do what's called scrunch out the cast, scrunch out the crunch, and I'll show you how it looks when I'm actually done and ready to go. Okay, so I was born clearly with naturally curly hair. When I was a kid, my hair was really long and it was very light. Like I would say a golden blondish brown. I grew up 2 blocks from the beach at my mom's house, and then at my grandparents' house, we had a community swimming pool, and I was there pretty much every day after school and in the summer all the time. So my hair was always really, really light. And it was more kind of wavy because I did brush it. I didn't know any difference about having curls. I know that when either my mom or my grandma would try to comb my hair, I would literally scream and cry because it tangled so easily. But my hair as a kid was always about down to here, and very light. Then as I hit puberty, it started to get really frizzy. And when I was in junior high and high school, hairstyle that was popular was all the Charlie's Angels, feathered back, flipped hair, straight hair. And with the hair I had, there was no way I could have managed that. So my hair was usually a frizzy, wavy mess, and it was very, very embarrassing for me, especially, in high school and in junior high. So all that time I really disliked my hair. Of course it was getting much darker, and I used to try to put lemon juice in it to lighten it. And that was pretty much how I took care of my hair when I was a teenager and preteen. Then in my 20s, I would often just let it I would dry my bangs up and let the back just kind of blow dry it, and it would get kind of somewhat curly, a little bit more wavy, more frizzy than anything. And to straighten my hair, I'd often, when it was wet, I would put it in a tight ponytail, or I would blow dry it straight. And very rarely did I wear my hair curly because I didn't like it. I think it went back to when I was a preteen and teenager. Curly hair wasn't in. And of course, I didn't really know how to take care of it. I didn't care about it. I hated it. It was also very, very thick. So oftentimes it would end up, if I didn't have the right cut, looking like a triangle. And I always think of Krusty the Clown's daughter on The Simpsons. If you've seen that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's how I always felt I looked. So it was kind of a mess, but I didn't pay that much attention to it. Again, it was always long, 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 long. Then a little bit later in life, I think I just consistently started to wear my hair the same way, more straight. And then, as flat irons came along, they were a godsend to me. And my favorite cut in my young life, married life, was a bob. I wanted a straight, angled bob. I loved it. No bangs, and I thought that was the bomb because it was so straight. And I was so, so envious of straight hair. I couldn't even imagine, to this day I still can't imagine how you can wash your hair, get out of the shower, let it air dry, and it dries straight. That is like still beyond my comprehension, and it's amazing to me that you don't have to do anything. It just dries poker straight. I don't get it. Anyway, so blah 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 blah. Fast forward to a few years ago. I did notice that, oh, when I would ever wear my hair straight or curly, it would be, I would shampoo it with regular shampoo, regular conditioner, get out, use Aussie gel, the Stronghold. I would just kind of just kind of put it in my hair a little bit, blow dry it, and it would really just kind of look like a fuzz bomb, but a little bit tamer. It didn't look that bad, but that's how I assumed was how you style curly hair. Then I started noticing I was getting my hair bleached for a while. It was really blonde at one point, and then it was sort of a just sort of highlighted. But it looked great when it was straight, and I loved it straight, so I wore it straight a lot. I would dry it straight, very, very high heat with a brush, and then afterwards I would put a something called a silicone spray to knock out the frizz to help me even straighten my hair with a flat iron. Of course, they would do that at the salon as well, and I'd walk out of that salon, I thought, looking bomb. Great, really cool, highlighted, bleached, deep blondie hair, straight, and it looked great. Until, you know, I started noticing that as I got a little bit older, you could see through my hair. I thought, what the heck's going on? And I noticed that my hair had thinned tremendously. Went to the doctor, had some tests, and she said, you know, it's just you're getting older and this is what's going to happen. So I decided on a whim, my hair was about down to here at that time. I went to my hairdresser who was doing at that time, I wasn't blonde anymore, it was more like a caramel blonde. I said, this is what I want. And it was a picture of a pixie. And she goes, you want that now? And I said, yeah, I'm ready. I want to go for it. I don't know what happened. So I've had this hairdresser for quite a while, very happy with her. Always blow dried my hair straight and ironed it before I left the salon after each coloring. And she said, okay. And I said, I want you to turn me around. I don't want to watch. So she turned me around and she cut the first strand, and it was about this long. And I felt okay. I was a little bit, So she cut it, and she cut it, and she cut it, and she cut it, and she cut it. And she looked at me, she goes, are you ready? And I said, I don't think so. I said, I'm going to go in the bathroom. I didn't look at the mirror, so I got up, and in the salon, the bathroom's way over at the corner. And I've been going there for years, so I know some of the other stylists. And I remember them looking at me when I passed, like, and I thought, oh my gosh. So I went in the bathroom. Unbeknownst to me, my hairdresser was a nervous wreck. She was scared to death. She's like, oh my God, she's going to hate it. All this stuff is going to happen. And I looked in the mirror and I screamed. I loved it so much, so much. It was definitely the haircut for me. It was no longer than this, you guys. It was straight. The picture I brought in was from Alyssa Milano, who had that pixie. I adored that cut, and that's exactly what I got. And I loved it. And I came out, and she saw the smile on my face, and she was so, so relieved. So anyway, I would get random strangers on the street complimenting me on my hair. It was perfect. A pixie cut for my face shape or whatever is the perfect cut for me. I would still have that pixie if I didn't freeze to death every winter. The back of my neck was so, so cold I couldn't handle it. So after about a year and a half of having it fairly short, I decided to grow it out. And that was a pain in the butt. If anybody has ever grown out a pixie, it is a pain in the butt. You go through so many stages. I did have it trimmed a lot, so one time it was very short in the back, very long in the front. That was a very chic haircut. I hated that. I mean, I loved that, but I hated that it was so cold. So I just progressively grew it out. It was hard to style at the time because it was a little bit shorter to straighten and a little bit longer in the front, and it was just quite the growing pain. So anyway, after deciding to grow that out, I was still getting it, of course, my roots done because I was pretty gray at that point. And that was, I would say maybe 6 or 7 years ago, maybe, that I had that pixie, maybe less. I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. But it was a dream haircut. It was just amazing. The compliments I got just by strangers, I don't know what it was, but I loved it. The weird thing was I didn't need any hair product. I used so much little shampoo, conditioner, of course, but I really didn't do anything with it. It was so short and it was so quick to dry. It was just easy. Anyway, so let's go back to the curly hair. As it was growing out, it would still just use Aussie gel if I wanted it curly. If not, I would blow dry it on hot heat, and use a flat iron and use a silicone spray. So I don't know what happened. I think a couple years ago, I really honestly don't know how I found it, but I was browsing on the internet and I found something called the Curly Girl method for natural curly hair. I looked into it and it intrigued me. You know, for some reason, it's fairly consistent with me. There's a time for me to be interested in things, and when I'm interested in them, there's a reason for it, and I go all out for it, as you can see from No Spend February and almost No Spend March. So anyway, I'm sorry this is getting kind of long, but I want to give you my whole background and my journey, because a lot of you have been talking to me about my hair and asking about what I do with it. Okay, so there's a book called The Curly Girl Method. It's by Lorraine Massey. She's the inventor of the Curly Girl method, apparently. And it has a little DVD. And what it is it explains how to follow a completely different method as you have not from the Curly Girl method. And the points of the Curly Girl method are no sulfates in your shampoo, preferably co-washing, which I will explain later, no silicones in your product, I will tell you why later, no parabens, no silicones, anything like that. No heat. Oh, that was going to be hard for me. No heat. And air drying as much as you can. Just pretty much using natural ingredients. So I bought this book and I gave it a shot. I went out and I bought Diva Curl products. I bought the No Poo. Lorraine Massey is the inventor of Diva Curl. And I brought I'm sorry, let me go back a little bit. Let's start with up here. Okay. So most of your shampoos contain a sulfate, and a sulfate is really, really bad. It's a harsh cleanser. It's in your laundry soap, it's in your dish soap, it's in the soap they use at the car wash, and what that product does is it makes the suds in your shampoo, which tricks you into thinking, oh, I'm super sudsy, so I'm getting clean. But that's not actually the cleaning agent in the product. And what a sulfate does is it's so drying that it actually strips your hair. And it causes you to want to add conditioner in your hair to make sure it's moisturized. So it's kind of this back and forth thing. Dry it out, moisturize it. Dry it out, moisturize it. The problem with using a sulfate shampoo on curly hair is because our hair is coily like this and it goes like this. The natural oils on your scalp, called the sebum, when you have straight hair, they migrate down. They have no bumps, they have no roadblocks, they have nothing in the way to get to the ends of your hair to keep your hair pretty moisturized. With curly hair, that doesn't happen. It goes and it gets stuck and it might curl around and around and around. So our hair tends to be very, very dry, which is why you don't want to dry it out with a sulfate shampoo. So that's the reason for the no sulfates. Now, silicones. I can't talk about silicones without talking about hair porosity. Okay, the porosity of your hair, something I have learned along the way. You have high porosity, medium porosity, and low porosity hair. When you look at the hair shaft or the hair strand, you have a cuticle that goes around the outside of it, okay? When you have high porosity hair, those cuticles are open. It's almost like people have akin it to the shingles on a roof. When the wind blows, they kind of blow up. Or another common analogy is a pine cone. You've seen those pine cones that are very, very tight, the new ones, and then the other ones that are kind of open up. When you have high porosity hair, those shafts, those shingles, those pine cone thingies are open. So when you have high porosity hair, it tends to be a lot drier, because although you can get moisture in there with products, you can also lose it really quickly. So that hair tends to be a lot drier. When you have low porosity hair, like me, those shafts are closed pretty tight. Plus and negative, it can hold moisture a lot better, but you've got to get that moisture in there because it's trying to get in there and there's very little access for that moisture to get in there. So because of this, there are different ways you can style your hair, which I have to do, I will explain later, to get that moisture in your hair. But that, finding out my porosity and treating my hair for my porosity other than my curl texture or pattern, has been a huge learning thing for me and made all the difference. So that's a difference between high porosity, medium porosity, and low porosity hair. It's the cuticles around your hair. Are they open or are they closed? Okay, now with silicones. Silicones are, silicones. They are great for combating frizz, making your hair look straight and shiny and reflective of light. They're great for that. The problem with silicones are, for high porosity hair, they fill in those gaps, almost like a spackle or something. They fill it in so that shaft looks a lot smoother, less frizzier, and healthier. At the same time, what silicone does, more so for low porosity curlies, are it puts a coating around. And every time you use silicone, it builds up and it builds up and it builds up on your hair. The only way to get that buildup off your hair is to use a sulfate shampoo. So again, you're going back and forth, you're not solving any problems. Silicones do not repair your hair. They make your hair look healthy, but they don't really do anything for the health of your hair. So a silicone for specifically low porosity girls is just not good because it's not going to get in there. It's just going to sit. It's just going to sit. So that's it with porosity and silicones. Our third thing was no heat. Okay, that was a tough one for me because I adore my hair straight. I love my hair straight. To this day, I love my hair straight. It's so much easier to take care of. It's just prettier. It's shinier. You can do this with it. You can do that with it. You can do all kinds of things. It's not going to change. If I wash my hair one day, say Sunday night, get it all straightened, I sleep on a satin pillowcase, another thing, I will wake up in the morning pit straight and it will stay that way all week. If I go outside and it's misting or something, I don't have any frizz because my porosity is so tight. And my hair really does love to be straight. It straightens very easily and it loves it. But to get that straight, I've got to use a flat iron, which, no heat. And I'll be honest with you guys, you've seen it. I do straighten my hair once in a while. But my hair is very, very healthy, thanks to the Curly Girl method. All right, so no heat means air dry as much as you can, or if you're going to diffuse, I will show you what a diffuser is in my hair routine video. It's an attachment that looks like this and it goes on your blow dryer and you dry your hair up like this. You scrunch it up and it cuts down the strong blowing of the blow dryer. I do use low heat. I've never used high heat because it just takes too long for me. I try to air dry as much as I can, but I often don't have the time because my hair takes forever to dry when it air dries. Excuse me. Okay, so that's what it means to be Curly Girl method. Okay, now when I talked about shampooing, I mentioned co-washing. And that is pretty much washing with a conditioner, which sounds kind of icky, kind of gross, because you do not have that sudsy stuff. So it must not be getting clean, right? Absolutely not. If you get in there and you really scrub your scalp with your fingers and you wash with a conditioner, which is extremely moisturizing, you're going to start changing the health of your hair. I did that for a while using different conditioners, different co-washes, and at the beginning my hair responded fairly well. At the same time, because it is low porosity and using different products, even though they didn't have silicone, they would tend to build up a little bit because my cuticles were so close. Not to the extreme that a silicone would, so every once a month I would use a sulfate shampoo to get all that product off. And to kind of like free it for that. People with high porosity really don't need to do that so much because they've got that in and out ability to get moisture in and moisture out and products in and products out. So my hair was fairly short at that time. I think it was up to here, and it curled pretty well. And I did start to notice after about 6 months a difference with my curls being more springy, less droopy, more defined, following the curly girl method, following ways to style my hair after co-washing, shampooing, and conditioning. So a co-wash, you co-wash with a conditioner, or you can use a no-poo shampoo. You can find those. My favorite currently is As I Am Co-Wash Conditioner. It really makes my scalp feel clean and healthy. Again, it's going to have to be experimented by you to find the right co-wash or low poo or no poo. A low poo does have a sudsing agent in it, but it's not a sulfate agent. Okay, so that's it with the curly girl method, how you should follow it, what you should do. Okay, now like I said, I started this in February 2 years ago, and I got on a bunch of Facebook pages and a lot of vlogs, and I started looking at pictures of girls with the hair I wanted my hair to transition to. And you say, wow, the hair looks amazing. What product did you use? And then you would go out, and it's something that we curly girls do. We see somebody who's got great hair, and we want that product, so we go out and buy it. And we're called product junkies. And when you're first transitioning, girls, I'm telling you, you're going to buy everything. And I bought so many different products. I would use them. They would make my hair droopy. They wouldn't work. And these are not cheap products. A lot of natural products are a little bit expensive, but there are cheaper alternatives that you can get at the drugstore that just do just as well as a good job. But again, it requires experimentation. I've used butters, I've used oils, I've used curl milk, I've used so many different gels. I've made my own gel, my own flaxseed gel. I've tried a lot of stuff, and I have a lot of stuff that's just sitting there. I've given some to my friends, but mostly it's just sitting here because I don't know what to do with it. I've used it once, twice, hasn't worked. Okay, so that has been about 2 years of experimenting. Sometimes my hair reacted wonderfully, sometimes not. Then, right around my 2-year mark in February this year, I decided that my hair has gotten more wavy, less curly, and I needed to start treating it as it was. I mean, I have coils under here. You can see them. And I wanted my entire hair like this. But at the top, it would just do kind of this wavy stuff. And I was getting frustrated. I'm like, this is not working for me. I give up. I'm going back to my old thing. I'm going to straighten my hair every day. And then I would have a great day where my hair would actually behave and be a little bit more coilier. So anyway, I started saying, okay, I'm less as curly as I used to be as a kid, as a teenager, as a young adult, and my hair is thin and it's more wavy. So what do I do for wavy hair? At the same time, I started looking into porosity, which I just explained to you guys. Going over here a little bit, I want to talk a little bit about curl pattern and curl texture now that I'm talking about coilies in waves. There are categories for your curl texture, your curl type. How tight is that? One is straight hair. There is nothing in there. Type 2 hair is wavy. There's A, B, and C, depending on the waves. How wavy your hair is. Type 3 is coily curly. A, B, C, there too. Type 4 is like a kinky curly, A, B, and C. My hair categorizes in the 2C, 3A, meaning it's very, very wavy and lightly coily curly. And for a long time, I was focusing on my curl pattern. How can I make this more curly or that less wavy and stuff like that? I had to throw that out the window and focus on my porosity and how to style my hair given the porosity. And it's really changed a lot with what my hair has started to do and started to look. Okay, so we're going on a pretty long video here, but I wanted to get this out here so you can have some background for when I eventually do my routine, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. I'm going to talk about how I style my hair, why I style it that way, what products and things, accessories I consistently use to prevent any kind of frizz or dryness or breakage of my hair. I'm going to talk about the different styling methods. You'll hear things like praying hands, scrunch the crunch. You'll hear kinds of curly vernacular that will make sense when I show it to you. Okay, so that's going to come in my next video. If you have any questions about what I've already discussed, I think I've probably forgotten a lot of stuff. So we may have a follow-up to this before I do my routine. But that's my background information, what the Curly Girl method is, why I am on it now, what it has taken me to get here. And I'm going to go scrunch out my crunch right now, and I'll be back so you can see what my hair is actually going to look like today and hopefully for the rest of the week. Okay, hang in there. Okay, kids, so here we go. I also put some lipstick on so I can look sexy for Sid. Okay, so all I have done is flipped over, shuffled. This is called shuffling. And scrunch my crunch a little bit. And I would say right now, I'm not sure you can really see the definition. I am pretty happy with how it turned out. See how it's more wavy here? It's coily under here. See the bouncies? Let's see if I can pull one here. That's going to spring right back up. And under here, my curls are always under here. And this is in essence how long my hair actually is. So it does spring out. So, okay, I wish it was a little bit more defined over here, but I think I'm going to have to get it a little bit more layered. But otherwise, I'm fairly happy with how it looks for today. Now I have to go through the day, and it's going to dry a little bit more. It's still a little bit wet on top because I had it clipped, and we'll see how it acts during the day. Also, when I do my routine, I'll show you how I sleep with my curly hair. Okay, guys? So thanks for watching. I hope this helped out with any questions you had. If you have curly hair or wavy hair, if you have straight hair, lucky, but I don't think I can help you there. Okay, guys? Have a great day. Again, any questions, if I can answer them, I will do my best. Just put them on the bottom. And let me show you the back of my hair. I don't know how it looks, so. How does it look, okay? Let's hope so, because that's going to have to last me for, it's Tuesday. I'm going to say till Friday would be really, really nice. Okay? All right, guys, stop talking now. I'll see you later.